Hi everyone, this is Phil from Warhammer Online, and today we are going to be unboxing Necromunda Underhive. Ooh, yeah! Brutal gang warfare in the 41st millennium. Okay, let's just have a quick look at this. First and foremost, this is one heavy box. There's a lot of stuff in there. I think that's probably going to be all about the card and all the rest. So a quick look at the rear. Here you can see the contents. We've got an introduction to the two gangs that you get in the Underhive box set. So the first is the gangs of House Goliath. Now these are the masters of furnace of metal. The background subjects of House Goliath are incredibly strong, tough, if short-lived, and mentally unbalanced. Gangers that fight in the name of House Goliath are hulking, muscle-bound brutes. Their weapons are as strong, blunt, and brutal as they are. So that's what Jack is going to be doing. I've been told reliably. He's decided that's more his style than mine. So I'm going to be doing Gangers of House Escher, the producers of the finest combat stimulants, poisons, and gene-enhancing elixirs in the galaxy. The vast majority of the House Escher subjects are female due to the dabbling in alchemic technologies that has enfeebled its menfolk. The House Gangers favour their poison stiletto knife and choking chem thrower, and they are fast and agile as they are striking and cruel. So according to Jack, somehow that's going to be me. What do you get in the box? A 104-page rulebook, 9 double-sided card tiles, 7 plastic catches, 9 plastic barricades, 5 plastic loot crates, a deck of 70 game cards, a ranger rule, 16 Necromunda dice, and 20 plastic miniatures. In the House Goliath, you've got 2 gang leaders and champions and 8 gangers, and in House Escher, we have 2 gang leaders, champions, and 8 gangers. So, let's get into the box. Here we go then. Takes some opening, that box. Let's just go through an overview of the content and then we'll have a look at each one in detail. First we have templates. Then you've got 2 what appears to be identical sprues for House Escher. Let's just double check that, but yes, that's right. Although I'm assuming in the loadout you can create variants through that. Really good looking miniatures already, before I even get into the detail. Then we have 2 sprues of House Goliath. Again, some really cool looking weaponry and stuff like that. I hope there's some spares on this because this will be great for just 40k as a whole. There's some very cool weaponry. I'm so excited about this range as a whole and what impact it could have on our 40k game. Okay, now we're into bulkheads. These are reworked from the original. So this is the doorways and the bulkheads by the looks of it. Really thick, actually. Surprisingly thick. And this looks like barricades and objectives. So I really like this one. I've spotted it before. Crazy little tentacle coming out. And here we see some of the objectives as well. We have a Underhive quick guide rule. There's 2 of those, 1 for each player. That's nice, covering actions and going through to the wound tables and all the rest, and injuries as well, and page references. So that's quite nice. The main rulebook. It's actually quite a lot to it. It's a good looking book. And the one thing that struck me straight away when I was looking at this earlier was just the quality of the artwork. The artwork is stunning. It's got that retro sort of mid-80s feel to it, but it's absolutely stunning. Right. Painting guide. This is how to build guide. So this is the instructions for building. Read this first, it says. Yeah, it's probably a good idea. Interestingly enough, there's a quick range of how the models look. You can now see that even though they're 2 identical sprues, these 2 are based on the same torso build, but creating different looks with different weaponry. So that's cool. That's good. Then we have the game cards, which has got both character cards and everything in there, tactical cards and the rest. Bases, these look nice. Specific dice for the game. which is good. Oh, the game board. There's some weight in that. We'll open those up and we'll have a quick look at those one at a time. Couple of spare bags, always good for putting your stuff in once you've started to build it. And a ruler. And then this is the interesting bit. Not unlike Devil's Run Route 666 actually, the box forms part of the gaming table, which is nice. I like that. So that's a good idea. Okay, let's go through each bit by bit. So let's start with a look at House Goliath sprue. Now there are two identical sprues, so I don't need to go through each part. Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, as ever with Games Workshop releases now, these are just incredibly impressive. Beautiful amount of detail. I'm loving some of the weaponry, some of the pistols, the axes and all the rest. What I'm going to do, as you can see, these are tightly packed, and don't forget you get two of each variant. So let's just zoom in and have a look at some of the detail on this. I mean, as you can see, this is pretty incredible stuff. I'm loving this axe here and the complementary blade there. That's absolutely fantastic. The other thing that jumped out to me straight away was this little handgun here, which I just think is absolutely brilliant. It's a really chunky little handheld pistol. I'm loving that. Great big massive hammer, and look at the detail here as well. They've done it where the metal is kind of splayed apart. So it's clearly been used quite a lot, either for industrial use or for ganger use, but it doesn't really matter. I love the fact that this weapon isn't pristine. It's taken some damage. It's really nice. We've got all sorts in here, grenade packs. And just look at these chaps here, super strong. So yeah, this is going to be good fun. We're going to get these built straight away and get on to painting these, because we really want to start playing as soon as possible. Another great weapon there, and the kind of, I don't know, what is that? It's like almost a shotgun, but it's got like a holder for 6 rounds, so it's like a 6-shooter shotgun or something. Just some great weaponry in here. Lovely bits of detail as well. See if we can pick out some of the heads. So here we are, here are the faces. And again, this has made the models quite modular, so you can actually build the model and then choose an alternative face for each model. So interesting concept, interesting way of approaching it. But also that means then things like the hair is modular as well. So we can have little spiky blades on the head or spiky hair and those kind of things. Clever idea, very clever design. Far more parts to a model than you would expect for a specialist game like this. If we were to I'm just going to do a quick count on one of the parts to make one model. So this is for Splitter Korg. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 parts to make Splitter Korg. So that gives you an idea of how much detail is contained and how sort of animated the poses are for these models. Next up, we have the House Escher sprue. A lot lighter, but that's because House Escher are a lot lighter than House Goliath. Again, overwhelming sense of detail to all of these beautiful models. Wonderfully archaic weaponry, very unique designs. One of my favourite bits of detail is the lasguns. As you know, these guys manufacture and create their own weaponry, and what I like about this is it's a lasgun. It's recognisable as a lasgun, but it's also specific to House Escher, same as the las pistols. Again, I'm not only excited about this for Necromunda, but also from a point of view of creating wonderful little inquisitorial retinues and all the rest that can come with this. So the possibilities of these sprues are fantastic. In terms of detail, well, not unlike all of Games Workshop's releases at the moment, pretty much second to none. Look at the sculpting on the leg there, the amount of detail just on the boot, the studs on the leather boots, etc. is just crazy. If I was to just flip it over here, as you can see, the detail on the chest plates and the boots there, as well as these wonderfully fine little swords and daggers like the House Escher are carrying. check out this sort of heavy lasgun, or some kind of, oh actually it's a flamer, which is even better. Can you see the liquid flame that's nipping off the end there? Or some kind of chem weapon of some description anyway, so that's absolutely brilliant. And now I'll be digging into the rules to find out what all of these wonderful things do. And then you still recognise some elements from the 40k universe, so the point of the needle pistol there as well, added to the bottom of that bolt gun. Brilliant, absolutely impressive. Loving all the hairstyles, all the punk styles to all of this is great. So yeah, overall, very impressive. I think just one final note here on the power whip there. Just the level, again, level of detail that's gone into this, the little ridges, the power lines running down it. Absolutely amazing. So I can't wait to start building these. But again, I think it's going to be a big build. You know, these models are all 10, 12 pieces each. You're not going to be putting these together in half an hour. Not if you want to do a proper job of them and clean them all up. But great stuff for us hobbyists all over, just having access to more kits and more fun. Next up, I just wanted to have a quick look at the Necromunda Zone Mortalis base bag. So this has got 15 25mm bases, 10 32mm bases, and you will note straight away when we look at this, this is the pattern from the Zone Mortalis floor. So this is, again, very nice. If you've got one of the original Zone Mortalis sets, you'll be extremely pleased that these bases are becoming widely available now. Also, from my perspective, I think that's pretty exciting as well, because I know that they're going to be available separately. So the fact that we can get these for, say, my Gene Stealer cult and all the rest, pretty excited by all of that. Next, we've got the bulkhead spring. And as I mentioned earlier, these are heavy duty. They're really thick pieces of plastic with quite a bit of weight to them. Wonderful little bits of detail. You can see how the door opening mechanism works here with the cog system that slides the iris back. If we look on the other side, you can see the iris. So just as ever, lots of thought out actions to the scenery itself. You can see how these things work. You can see how they function. So let's take this blast door here. Look, this pressure door, big heavy duty hinges. But look on the alternative side, some massive logs to stop that thing giving way. Again, impressive stuff. Very excited. You know, I'd like to say I'd like to see more in the box, but given the starting price, I don't think it's too bad. Maybe 2 of those would have been wonderful, but I kind of get it. And no doubt they're going to be available separately as well. So, in fact, that's one of the really exciting things. I'd love to see how they expand this range. And finally, for the plastic, what we have here is the barricades and objectives and ammo crates. I love the fact we've got ammo crates here with the lid off. Let's zoom in and get some detail on this. Okay, I love the fact we've got these open ammo crates with the shells all scattered around and the clips and a couple of hand grenades just sat in there as well. I think that's fantastic. The barricades all shot to hell with pot marks and bullet marks all over them. And then we can see some of the kind of more unique elements to it as well. Little scattered bits of grenades. Nice weapon crate there, look. That's amazing. Then we've got little control panels and reliquaries and those kind of things. And then we've got this little beastie, the tentacle beastie popping out of the grate there as well, which is great fun. No pun intended. And the lids to the ammo crate, so you can kind of close them off. Although why you'd want to do that, you could just leave them scattered at the side, couldn't you? So yeah, really impressed, very, very impressed, and all of this is going to add a lot of fun to the game. Not 100% certain what this thing is. Some kind of weird bubbly pool with some kind of weird skull slash spider web kind of thing, although it is made of steel, so who knows what that's meant to be. We'll probably find out later when I have a look through the system rules. Next up, we've got a selection of dice. Oh, let's just get into those, see what they're like. So as you can see, that's a fairly straightforward D6, but we do have the symbol on the 6 number. People will be pleased to know. Also, we have the dice specific to the game. You see movement, scatter, etc. And then again, just finally a set here, covering actions. Moving on to the printed content, you know, the outstanding thing, of course, is the Necromunda Underhive rulebook. beautiful in terms of artwork. It's quite a bit of a book involved. Quite a few pages there. Incredible artwork. Let me just see if I can get a better shot on that. So I'm not going to go through this page by page. It gives you all the background of the gangs, how the hive came around, how they're constructed, Necromunda itself, the anatomy of the city covering spires, the shell, the heat sinks, the hab zones. So you get a real sense for the scenario, for the environment you're fighting within, which I think is fantastic with these games because they're bordering on role-playing games to a degree. You get really attached to your gangs, you get really attached to your characters. It's nice to know plenty of detail about where they live, who they are, how they've grown up, and all of the trials and tribulations of their life in the Dark Millennium. So then we're into you know, nice clear instructions on some of the rules, so we can see that the diagrams for shooting and all the rest, line of sight examples are all well covered. And yeah, I mean, again, just a good book. Scenarios at the back, fantastic. So like I say, don't want to go through page by page, but I've had a quick read of it, and I'm really impressed with it so far, and I can't wait to get started on the games, to be honest. As I mentioned, you also get a cheat sheet for each player, which is really useful just to help everybody through the team turn sequence. There is a lot more involved than just playing the standard 40k game, particularly the 8th edition, so there's a lot more involved, and it's really useful to have this quick reference sheet available for both players. Then we have a mighty deck of cards. This is a good stack of cards. They're pretty thick as well, which is good, and they'll cover all of the rules like melter traps. So you have tactic cards. You also have, let me just see roughly how many tactic cards we've got there. I think there was a count on the back, but as you can see, a good half of the deck is down to the tactic cards, which has things like counter charge, gas tabs, group tactics, last gasp, etc., etc., all part of the core rule system, and great fun. Then in this stack here, what we've got is character cards, which is absolutely brilliant, but also wonderfully they provided a whole bunch of blank character cards for you to build up your characters and to you know, keep a track of all the weapons they pick up and as they evolve and move forward. So that's great. Looking forward to more of those coming out as well. Do I need to mention the ruler? Last but by no means least, we have the card content to the game, and this is really the main board, but it also contains all the tokens you need, various objective markers and blast markers, etc., as well as range finders and angle finders. This is amazing. You'll note that this is very similar to the design of the Zone Mortalis boards. In fact, it's pretty much identical to the Zone Mortalis boards. So if you've already bought yourself a nice big set of Zone Mortalis, then you are ready and raring to play Necromunda within those tiles. We've also got some pretty crazy stuff going off here, so who knows what's happened to that floor, but it really doesn't look healthy, does it? I don't think you want to be eating your dinner off that floor. And I seriously doubt the 5-second rule applies if you drop your sandwich. Next we have a corner piece, and again this is very much the similar layout to that you would get for the Zone Mortalis board. So these dark areas here representing the walls, the light areas representing the floor. As you can see, we've got both sort of relatively untouched and clean, followed by really got quite into a mess and broken down walls and the rest, and all sorts of weird stuff growing out the walls. I'm really liking this. It's very atmospheric. To say it's a board, to say a lot of the game is you know, played on 2D if you're playing straight out of the set, still has a real atmospheric look to it all, with the lighting and all the little bits of cables hanging down and horrible pools of green sliminess that really do look unhealthy at the best of times. This makes me want to add a bunch of green slime to my Zone Mortalis board that I've built. Wow. This is great. Again, broken down walls. All of them double-sided. All of them relevant to a particular scenario, but obviously also providing you lots of options to kind of put these together. They can be, you know, set, lined up, or you can actually offset these and, you know, create again another range of different options. Wow. More and more green sickly pools, This is really nice. I like the fact that the floor has just given way. You've got some hole down into nowhere. And this is one of my favourite ones, and it's given me an idea for the mine shafts on my own Zone Mortalis. So I'm going to do this with the lights receding off into the darkness. I love that. Love that idea. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed that quick look through the box. I've got a lot of work to do now in terms of getting the models painted and the scenery set up and all the rest. And then hopefully we'll be doing a few playthroughs on the channel. So if you like what you've seen, if you want to see more Necromunda on the channel, then give me a comment below. I'd really appreciate that. Like and subscribe, and if you want to see even more content from Wargamer Online, pop along to www.wargameronline.com and check out all of our premium content as well. Thank you very much. Bye. Don't forget, if you want to support us and see a whole host of exclusive content, then you can subscribe for a premium account at www.wargameronline.com. Once a premium member, you can have access to all of our exclusive content covering battle reports, full painting tutorials, hobby chats, as well as a whole host of product reviews, unboxings, and the latest news on what's going on in the world of wargaming.